Hello and welcome to another Learn Scratch tutorial. Here we're going to show you how to create a endless runner style platformer game. So let's just give a quick demonstration. We have a sprite here who runs, and we have objects that come towards him, and he can have a duck or he can jump over them. There we go. And the idea is you keep running for as long as you can until eventually let's just show you, you get game over if you hit one of them. So, great little game. Loads of stuff you can do here. You can have you can have scores, high scores. You can have increasing scores. You can have increasing difficulty, different backgrounds, different levels. So a great little game. So let's get started. So we head over onto Scratch and let's click Create. Let's create a new game. And first thing I always do is let's change this to Endless Runner. Game, there you go. So we just changed the title there. I always change it, otherwise you end up with loads of projects with the same name. Good, excellent. Now we're not going to need Scratch here, so we'll delete Scratch for a moment. There we go, good stuff. And today what we're going to use is we're going to, if you have a look at my man here, we're going to use a pre-built sprite off the internet, and he does various animations. Let's just show you him again. So he can run, he can crouch, or he can jump. There we go. So we're going to need three sets of animations. The running one to start off with, then this crouching one, and then finally the jumping one. So what I'm going to do is go online, free sprites for platformer. You can choose your own sprites or you can use the built-in ones, but today I'm using these from Open Game Art here. I'll put the link in the video. I just googled free sprites for platform as the first one that came up, and I'm going to use this one here. Have a look round, you can do your own one, you'll have to adapt it to however you do it, and there we go, that's what we need these sprite sets here. So let's have a look. Platformer sprites base PNG is the one we want, so we just click on that and it should download the sprites. There we go, brilliant, that's okay. So now we've downloaded, there's our platform, our sprites here, there's our, they're all there on the sprite sheet, and if I could preview it then you'd probably see, can I make that a bit bigger? There you go. You can see it's all inside of one picture, which means you've got a slight problem, because if I were to upload a sprite, as you normally would do, and just click on that, it would pop up with the entire sprite sheet, and then I'm going to have to spend a lot of time cutting out each individual sprite, making sure it's exactly in the right place, etc, etc. That's going to be quite a pain, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead is we're going to decompose the sprite sheet into individual sprites. So how do we do that? Well, free sprite decomposer. Oops, spelled that wrong. And the one I'm going to use is this free online sprite sheet decomposer. There we go. Now it's asking for the frame width and the frame height. What that is it's asking for the size of each individual sprite on there. So if you look here, it will probably tell you each frame is 64 by 64 pixels. So what we do here is put 64, 64, choose our file, there's our sprite base, click decompose, there we go, and there we go. And now it's got 72 separate frames, and if we click download the file, when it pops through, there we go, there's our download file, extract to that folder, hopefully. And now we have a folder with each individual frame on a separate file, which is exactly what we want. So the first animation we're going to do is the running animation, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it goes from 8 through to 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think it's those two, is it? Let's have a look. Oh no, let's have a quick look. It'll tell me here. Stance is 4. Run is 8. So the first 4 are stance frames, which makes sense. That's some kind of standing. And then these here, so it'll be like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those are the running frames. So we're going to need those in our program. So what do? We click on upload, light sprite from the file, go into this folder, and hold Control, and that will allow you to click all the 8 running animations, which are the first animations that we're going to want. So we select all 8 of those animations, click open, and I've done that completely wrong. Never mind. So what I've done there by accident is I've put all of those sprites onto different, all of those frames onto different sprites. That's no good. There we go, that's me not paying attention this morning. What we do is we click on New Sprite, and we'll just paint a new sprite. I got that wrong. And we need to upload the costumes here. There we go. Let's try again. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. There we go. Good. Brilliant. Good. There we go. There we are. And we'll just... Why is that doing that? Ah, there you are. Let's get rid of costume 1, which is the blank one. Get rid of that costume 1, and now we've got all of the other sprites. But they're in a bit of a crazy order. So let's sort them out. They are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there they are. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Good. Now, if we were just having running animations here on this man and we didn't have a jumping or a crouching, we could have just left them like this. But we're going to have lots of different types of frame inside of this man. So we need to organise them a bit better, because just numbers on the road isn't going to work. So what we're going to do instead is, we'll call this R1 for running one. There we go. And then we'll go through and rename them R2, R3, keep going through and rename them once they're ordered. R4, R5, R6, R7. Oh, no, that's R6. Has that done that? Oh, that's annoying. R6. There we go. R7. And scroll down. Oh, it's because it keeps clicking it back. Just watch for that, because it keeps clicking it back there. Let's just get rid of those. And that's R8. So what we've got now is we've got 8 costumes that are running costumes. Each one is prefixed with an R for running. So what it means now is we can control we can find out which frame he's supposed to be on, and we can make him animate through the frames as appropriate. So let me give you a quick example. We're going to change this code in a bit. But what we need to do is we'll make a variable, and it's just for this sprite. Let's call it running costume. There you go. Running costume num. There you are. Good. So that's his running costume number. And at the start of it, we set it to 1. And what we do now is we change the costume, switch costume 2, and we actually join, we're going to use this number 1 because it's going to increase each time. So we're going to get that variable, which is the running costume variable. Now we can't just put that running costume num1 there, because then it will just try and switch to costume 1. But these costumes aren't 1, it's R1, R2, R3, R4, etc. So what we do instead is we use the join function. Join, there we go. And, oh, actually that's no good. Set it to number 1 at the start, R1. And then each time, there we go, switch costume to R1. There you go. So now at the start of the game here, it'll set the variable to 1. That's no good. Set the running costume number to 1, and then it'll switch the costume to R1 or R2 or R3, depending on which one it's on. Let's have a go. So what we can do now, just to test it, is let's just do a quick loop with a wait and 0.5. We'll do a half-second wait for the moment just to test it. And what we'll do is we'll change the running costume by 1 each time. So we'll switch to that costume, and then we'll change it to the next one, and then we'll go through. There we go. And there he is, he's starting to run. There you go. Good. Unfortunately, once we get to number 10, 11 and 12, etc., then there aren't any more costume numbers. So what we need to say now is to say, okay, if the costume number, if that costume number equals 8, not 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, let's do 9. If the costume number equals 9, then we'll set it back to costume number 1. That way, and we'll just put that, there we go. Change the 1 by 1. If it's 9, go back to number 1, and then we'll wait a bit and then we'll keep going. So let's have a look. Let's see if that works now. Good. That's starting to work. 7, 8. There you go. Perfect. Let's speed it up a bit. There you go. Still a little bit in slow motion, but obviously we can change that weight to make it go slower or faster, depending on what we want. There we go. Good. So there you are. We've got a sprite and we've got him running, which is perfect. Good stuff. So now what we do is we'll put him here down at the bottom of the screen, and let's just create a floor. How did I do my floor on this one? Let's have a look. Oh, just a black floor. You can do whatever colour floor you want, it's fine, but I'm going to do a black background and a black floor. So backdrop, and then we'll just paint that in black. There you go. So I've got my running man there, and he's running along what will be the floor. Good. So there's the first bit. We've got him running, good stuff, and he will start running. So at the start of the game, we press start now, he'll just keep running, and you can see it switching between the costumes there. Which is fine. Maybe change that to 0.1, I don't know. Let's have a look. That looks a bit more like it. And now he looks like a running man, which is good. But now what we're going to do is we need to add the city background. So if you look here where the city moves along, there we are. We need to do the city background. So what we're going to do for this one now, the city background, if you notice the city background here, it moves across the screen, which means that because it moves, we can't use a backdrop, because backdrops are always fixed. We're going to have to use it as a sprite. So the buildings here and the clouds they're going to move, so all of those are going to be sprites. So let's create our first building. Here we go, paint a new sprite, and I'll just use some boxes, use solid boxes. I'll use a grey for the moment. And I'll just create some kind of city background effect. You could spend a lot of time developing yours, getting a nice, getting a really good looking background city. I'm just going to do a simple one for the moment, just for the sake of the tutorial. There we go. Let's just move that down a bit. So there is our, there's our, what's that called? There's our city backdrop. Notice how the city now has gone in front of our sprite. That's not much use. So what we want to say here is when we click start, let's just go to the front. Let's bring our man right up to the front. So when we press start, there he is. He's running. Good stuff. Brilliant. There we go. So we've got a city, we've got a man, but of course at the moment, in order to make it look like the man's moving to the right, then we need to make the city move to the left. So how do we do that? Well, what we need to do is we need to say that we need to change the x-coordinate of this city constantly. So it's going to start over here or in the middle, wherever we're going to start it. Let's say it starts over here, and each 10th of a second or 5th of a second, whichever, we're going to move it to the left. Let's just give you a quick example of that. Let's just say forever. We will get rid of this, but effectively what you're going to be doing is you're going to be changing the x-coordinates by, let's just say -1 or -2 or something. Let's have a look. So let's say it's -1. Oops, -1. And we'll just do a little bit of a delay. There you go. 0.1. And it's going to work. It's sort of going to work a bit like that. So there you can see the idea now. So each 0.1 seconds, if I do 0.01, there you go. Each 0.1 seconds, it moves a bit to the left. In fact, you might not even need that in there. Let's just try that. There you go. If you want it to move faster, then you could change x by -2 or something like that. But you get the idea. Good. So how are we going to implement that? Well, what we need to do is we need to control his x position, but whilst keeping his y position, the y position of this building, the same. So we're going to be using the goto. There we go. Go to the x. And the y is always going to be the same, which is going to be there. which is y, what's this position? Minus 34. So let's put that as minus 34. So whatever it says here for there, because the y is right. And we need to constantly change the x position. That means the x position is going to be varying. So in order for the x position of this building to vary, we're going to need to use a variable. And it's only for this sprite only. And let's call it expos. There we go. It's x position. Good. Now, at the start of the game, here we go, we set the x position of the building to be the center, which is good. And then forever, there we are. We don't change by -1. What we do now is something slightly more complicated. We change the x position variable by -1. Or we'll do -2 because it'll go a bit faster. And then we set the goto, we do goto, and the x position is going to be the x position of the variable. Good, and there you can see it's doing the same. So at the start of the game, it starts in the middle, which is all very good. And there you go, and it keeps going down. But at the moment, it keeps going down, but what we need it to do is as soon as it gets over to this side, in order to complete the animation to make it look like it's constantly running, we need to move it back over, right over to this side, so it's constantly going over and over and over again. So what do we say to that? Well, that's actually really quite easy. We just say if the x position, there we are, if x position is less than -450, I think. We'll try -450. This worked before. X position is less than -450. Then we set the x position to a positive number, and we'll set it to x position. Let's try 400. I'm going to go with the same numbers that I used before, 480. So let's just try that. So the buildings are going to the left. As soon as it goes right through to the left, it should then flick round to the right. Brilliant, perfect. So there you've got the buildings going. It looks like it's going from right to left, which is good. Obviously, what we really want here is we want 2 lots of buildings, but there's a problem. In order to make this work, we need one building to start in the middle here. There we go. And the other building to start right over there. So one of them will start at 0, and the other one should start at, I think, 450. I don't know which one it is, but we'll find out. Let's have a look. And now, hopefully, that should look like it's working. Yeah, so that looks like it's working fine, which is good. You might have to change the numbers. Obviously, if you look here, you can see that it looks like it's got a bit of a join. So just mess with these numbers, the 480, 450, until it works. You might maybe change them both to 480. I don't know. Mine worked before. I'll just have to tweak the numbers. But that's working all fine there. Good. So we've now got the sprite man working. Why has he jumped to the back? There you go. We've now got the sprite working, which is good. We've got our 2 buildings moving as well. What we can do now is we can add the clouds up at the top. So here in our endless runner tutorial, we've got the clouds moving at the top. But if you notice here, the clouds are moving at half the speed of the buildings. Much slower, and that creates what's known as a parallax effect. That's a really common effect that we use in platformer games that makes it look like you've got depth of field. So the things that are supposed to be close move quite quickly. The things that are further away move much slower. There you go, and you can see it. And that's what you create. You create this depth of field effect. So in order to do that, we're going to have the buildings moving at one speed and the clouds moving at a different speed. Now, the speed really is, there you go, the speed here really is this what the x position changed by each time. So what we'll do is, we'll just create a variable called speed. And the reason being is that we're going to have to use the same speed, or an amount of a speed, like a percentage of the speed, for any of the animations that we do, where we've got a building or a cloud or an aeroplane flying by, whatever you want to use. So we need a speed variable. So what we do here is we create a speed variable, and here it's going to change by -2. So what we'll do here is we'll say, okay, at the start of the game, and we'll put it on the sprite man because it's the speed that he's moving. And what we'll do is we'll set the speed to 2, minus 2. Minus 2, there you go. There's the speed, minus 2. Good. So we set his speed to minus 2. And now what we do is, instead of changing the exposition by minus 2, we change the exposition by whatever the speed is. There we go. So at the moment it should work exactly the same as it did before. We're still moving at the same speed. But what it also means now is if I change this speed from minus 2 to minus 4, or anything else we want to change it to, it will change the speed of the whole game. Now this is really, really useful. So let's imagine you've got a level where every time you jump over an obstacle or get past an obstacle, it goes a little bit faster. All you need to do to make the whole game move a little bit faster is just lower the speed to a slightly lower amount, like from minus 2 to minus 3 or minus 4. However you want to do it, you just change the speed. So that's really, really useful with that variable. So let's show you that in action. What we'll do here is we'll just duplicate that building, go to the costume, and we will, the easiest way to do it, we'll just paint a new costume and delete that one actually. Paint a new costume, and this time we use an ellipse shape. Again, you can spend a lot more time doing prettier clouds than I'm going to do, but I'm just showing this the general idea. There we go. And this time what we do is the Y position needs to be higher up. So if you look, its Y position for this one here is 4 by the looks. So let's set that to the Y position to 4 for the cloud. That one's starting at 450. But this one, what we'll do now, to make it look like it's further away, is we'll change the exposition by speed divided by 2. So it's only going to move at half the speed of the buildings. So let's see if that works. Let's have a look. There we go. Perfect. There you go. And you can see the clouds there are just bobbling along quite happily there, which is good. Maybe set that to 200 at the start or something. I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's try that better. There you go. So it's going at the start. If you notice there, you'll probably notice the clouds here are going in front of the building by accident. That's not deliberate. So what we need to say there is, okay, let's move them to the back. And I'll just force it back. We'll just say go back 8 layers. That should do it. That's plenty of layers. And that'll force him right to the back. There you go. So you've got a cloud there, which is working really, really well. Again, you can mess with the shape, the colour, the size to make it work how you want. And I'll just duplicate that cloud. And this one, we'll start him at minus 100, I think. Hopefully that now. There you go. So now, and again, you can mess with the numbers so it works however you want it. But now we've got a guy that's running, which is good. And we've got clouds that are working. Are they coming along, are they? Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, they're just about working. I think with the clouds, because they're smaller, the clouds are much smaller than the buildings. You're probably going to have to mess with these numbers here a bit. Maybe minus 250 and plus 300 or something. But just have a mess with it until it works however you want it. And just get it working however you want it. Good. So we've got the running, we've got the buildings, we've got the clouds. The next thing we want to do is we want to get it so that he can start crouching. So in order to get him to crouch each time, we need to switch the costume. Whenever you press the down button, we need to switch the costume from these running costumes, and we need to switch it to the crouching costume. So in order to do that, we're going to need to first of all upload the crouching costume. So let's have a look. Crouch, 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 duck 2 frames. It's somewhere after the walk by the look. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. There we go. That one will probably do, I think, maybe. Number 41. So you could do a full crouching 3-part crouching animation, just like I did with the other one. But I'm just going to do a fixed crouch at the moment. So if you press it, it's going to go straight down into that number 41 crouch. So let's have a look. Let's have a go. Which is all good. So what we say now is if the down button is pressed, there we are. If the down arrow is pressed, let's put that in there. Come on, thank you. If the down arrow is pressed, we switch to that costume, which of course we haven't got yet. So let's upload costume. Let's go to number 41. There it is, number 41. Good. Switch number 41. Let's call that C1 for crouch 1. C1, crouch 1. And if the down arrow is pressed, we switch costumes to crouch 1, C1. Good. And then what we'll do is we'll then wait until the down arrow is not pressed. So you'll constantly be crouching until you let go of the down arrow, and then obviously it'll go back into his running animation. So wait until not down arrow pressed. Down arrow. There we go. Good. And hopefully that will work. So it's running, running, running. Hold the down arrow. There you go. Running, running, running. Hold the down arrow. And that works perfectly. Good. Now you could make it slightly more complicated if you want to use the animated version where it goes down. You could switch to C1, wait 0.1 seconds, and then switch to C2. So you can have that one, switch that one first, and then wait 0.1, and then switch to that one. And then when you release it, you wait until it's released, and then you switch to maybe that one, and then back up, so it looks like it's animating going up and down. But I'm not going to bother doing that for the moment. I'm just going to have mine straight down. They just go straight down. You can do that if you want. Okay, so we've now got him running, we've got him crouching, we've got the buildings moving, and we've got the clouds moving. The next thing we want to do is we want to get him jumping. So the jumping ones here, let's have a look. Crouching, crouching, the two crouching ones. The jumping costumes, we have 6 of them, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good, there we go. So we've got 6 jumping costumes. These are ones at number 42 through to 47. So what we're going to do first of all is let's get those costumes added. 42 through to 47. Good. We'll add all of those costumes. Good stuff. 42 to 47, and now there's 42. Let's move these around. 43, 44, 40. I don't know why it does them all in weird order. 45, 46, 47. 47, yeah, there you go. So we got all of them in the right order. 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Good. So now what we'll do is we'll change these and we'll name these same as before. J1 for jumping 1. Just take your time on this. Make sure it's the right ones each time because it does flick you back up to the top, which is a little bit annoying. J2. Oh, J1, J2, J3. J4, J5, and J6. There we go. J6. Good. So we've now got 6 jumping costumes, which is good. And let's have a look at those in action. Let's have a quick test again. So this time we'll do it when I receive the message. Let's put jumping. There we go. When I receive the message jumping, what we'll do here is we'll just switch slowly through each costume. So switch costume to J1, jumping 1, which is good. And then we'll wait 0.1. There we go. Wait 0.1. There we go. So switch to 1, wait 0.1, and then we can do the same one. Let's go J2, and just keep going through, just like that. J3, J4, J5. J6, there we go. And that hopefully now, if we click on that, there you go. There you go. It should yeah, do a jumping animation. There he is, he's jumping. So, which is good. Now we need to tie it into here so that when we press the jump arrow, he jumps. Let's have a quick look. So if let's put that there. Oops. If the up arrow is pressed, pretty similar to before actually. If the up arrow is pressed, this time what we do is we broadcast jump, or broadcast jumping. Should really call jump really. Oh well. Broadcast jumping and wait. In fact, let's just swap that round. Broadcast jumping and wait. There you go. Good. So now we press start. If I press the jump arrow, there you go. He starts to jump. If I press the crouch arrow, he crouches. But the problem at the moment with our jumping, as you probably noticed, is he's not jumping very high. So we need to sort that out. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to, as we're going through this jumping here, as well as switching costumes, we also need to move him up for a bit and then move him down. So all we need to do there is we need to change his Y coordinate by a certain amount. So let's say let's try 30. So we'll move him up by 30, which is good. Obviously, if we move him up by 30, then here we'll have to move him down by 30. Let's have a look. There we are. And then we'll up the next one. It goes there. 30. Let's go 20. So we'll have to move him down by minus 20 here. Minus 20. 10. And then minus 10. Minus 10. There you go. Let's have a look. So now, oops. Oh, what have I done here? Oh, minus 30, that's why. There we go. Got a slight issue, he's up here at the moment. Let's, what's his Y coordinate needs to be? Let's have a look, let's move him back down. Minus 104. There you go. Y minus 104. So, at the start of the game, set his Y to minus 104, so that if something does go wrong, you'll get reset each time. Let's have a look. So if we press up, there you go. So now he jumps up, and he crouches down. Brilliant. Crouch, jump, crouch, jump, crouch, jump. Good. So now we've got the man, he's got him jumping, he's crouching, we've got the backgrounds, we've got the clouds. Now we need to make the game a little bit more difficult because we need to start adding some balls to the game, some kind of obstacles it's got to either jump over or crouch underneath. So let's have a go at adding those. So let's add a new sprite. Let's click on add a new sprite, and I'm just going to use a ball for the moment. You can put more effort into your obstacles. Obviously put more effort into your obstacles, but I might just for the purpose of the tutorial, we'll just have it a ball. And we'll either have a low ball here where he's got to jump over, or a high ball here where he's got to crouch underneath. So probably low, high, low, high. So what we need to do is we need to start the ball each time here at the right hand side, either low or high, and depending on which way it needs to be. And then it's going to slowly move all the way from the right to the left. So there we go. When I receive, let's try low ball. Let's do a low ball, low ball. There we go. When I receive low ball, what we will do is we will, let's have a look. When I receive low ball, what we'll do is we'll generate a clone. We'll start a clone. There we go. Create a clone. When I receive low ball, we'll create a clone of myself. Good stuff. And we'll get started. When we start as a clone, this is where we'll release the ball and we'll do something here. So when I start as a clone, what we'll do is let's set the X or the Y coordinate, which is the height. Let's set the Y to, let's do a low ball there. So whatever that is, minus 121. Set the Y to, when I start as a clone, minus 121. That's good. When I see lowest select one as myself, set the Y to 121, and then what we'll do here is we'll move to the left. Forever. There we go. Go forever. And we'll just move across to the left. Change x coordinates by minus, let's do -1 for the moment. Let's see if that works. So there you go. Brilliant. Good. So when I start as a clone, set the y to there. Oh, we also need to set the x coordinate actually to over there. Let's change that, -121. And the x coordinate can go at 250, I think. 250. There you go. Let's try that again. There you go. So when you start as a clone, you go right over to this side, set the y to the low ball height, and change x by -1, which will keep moving him to the left. There you go. And what we can say is if the... Where's that gone? His x value is... Where's it at? Let's have a look. Let's try that. There we go. Where's that clone? There you go. If his x value, where's his exposition? If his x value is less than minus 240, if his exposition is less than minus 240, then we will destroy that clone because we don't need that clone. Basically, you want the clone to keep going over there until it gets to there and then destroy itself. So we can just delete this clone. There you go. If his exposition is less than minus 240, delete itself. Also is, what we want to say is we don't want that ball appearing at the start of the game. So most of the time we want him to hide. And when you start as a clone, show. And then hopefully now, if it's the start of the game, let's just, when I receive, there you go. Let's just make sure that works. Good. Let's have a look. Good. There you go. Perfect. So it goes all the way from the right to left each time, and at the end it disappears, which is brilliant. Perfect. Now, what we need to think about now is, okay, when do we want these balls to appear? Because we could have it keep going every half a second and they keep going like that, but then the game would be too hard. You could set it so it's every 3 seconds and it alternates, but what you might find is that if you just do a random one, what it could happen here is that you could end up with 2 on top of each other, which again would make it a pretty hard game. So really what you want each time is you want like a delay of, let's say, a second or 2 seconds in between each, depends on what it's going to work, and then it needs to pick either a high ball or a low ball to do. So let's duplicate that, because we're going to need a similar sort of thing here when I receive high ball. There you go. I'm going to receive low ball, so it's going to be pretty much the same, but all that's going to change is when we receive a high ball, we're going to set his y coordinate to be up here, and when we receive low ball, it's going to set it to down here. So we can do that quite easy. And what we'll do is we'll have this controlled by, let's have a look, let's set it over here. So when start clicked, what we'll do is forever, what we're going to do is forever, every second, or every 2 seconds, let's say every 2 seconds, every 2 seconds, we're going to wait 2 seconds, and then we're going to release another ball. So which one do we do, high ball or low ball? Well, we don't know because we want it to be random. So what we can do is just pick a random between 1 and 2, pick a random between 1 and 2, and we're doing if else. So if the random, let's have a look, let's say, if the random number equals 1, then we'll do a low ball. We'll broadcast low, we'll do it that way, high ball, otherwise broadcast low ball. Good, and wait 2 seconds. So that now should, at the start of the game, let's have a look, hopefully every 2 seconds it will release another ball. And you can change that wait value. There you go, 1, 2, 1, 2, good, brilliant. There we go. So at the moment they're all coming out every 2 seconds, which is quite tight, but they're all going to the same place. So what we need to do now is we need to, so that if it's a high ball, we move the y value we change the y value to a certain amount. So how would we do that? Well, let's just have a look. Oops, So that clone disappears, doesn't it? Okay. What we do is when we receive low ball, we'll just create a variable and we'll call it high or low. High or low. And there we go. And we'll set that to high. Oh, no, that's the low, isn't it? Low. We'll set that to high. There we go. And when we start as a clone, here what we can do is just put a little if else. There we go. Good. If if high or low equals high, then we set the y value to some high. Set the y value to a high amount. Otherwise, we set it to a low amount. So let's say, where is that ball? Where is this? -121. So low is -121, -121. And then we'll do -80 maybe. Let's have a look. -80. Again, you're going to have to play with these figures to make them work for your game. Let's see if that works. Is that working? Ah, yes, it is working. I thought it wasn't working then. So, as you can see here, it's either setting high or it's setting low, and they're coming along quite happily, which is good. Again, probably a little bit too close and a little bit too slow at the moment, but that's okay. We can tweak those values. So, what we'll do now is do that. What we'll also do as well, actually, is let's do different costumes. So again, you can have different costumes for whether you do high or low on yours. So what I'll do is let's do ball A and then ball B or something. Again, you can change yours so it works exactly however you want it to. So let's have a look. If it does a low ball, it does blue. If it does a high ball, it does orange, like an orangey yellow sort of colour. Good, excellent. So the balls are now moving across. Let's add some more space between them. So let's do a wait of 4 seconds, and let's get them moving across here. Change y by minus. Let's do -3. Let's try that. Let's see if that sort of moves along a bit better. Let's have a look. So it's waiting 4 seconds. Let's see if that works. And now we're going to see if we can jump over it. So let's have a look. So might be able to jump over it. Let's have a look. Jump. Ah, he's almost jumping over it. Almost jumping over it. There we go. But as you can see, he's sort of falling back onto it. So, and the reason is because he's not really sticking up at the top there for very long. He's only sticking there for 0.1. So let's change that to 0.3 seconds, so that when it jumps, it sort of hovers up. Ah, there you go. You can see it. There you go. Let's have a look. Now, that's a high one, and I'm going to touch that. So that high ball there needs to be a little bit. The high ball needs to go a little bit higher. So if it's a high ball, let's set it to -60 so that it can duck underneath it. Again, you just, whatever it works for yours. Let's see if that works. Let's have a look. So let's see if it'll jump over this. Yeah, we're just about there now. What we might have to do is make the balls a little bit smaller, because those balls are quite large. So let's make it a little bit smaller. In fact, actually, let's set the size to start the game to 60%. That hopefully should make it a little bit easier. Again, you're going to have to play with it, make sure it works however you want it to work. So let's have a look. Now that's a little bit too high, so now it's missing him. So let's set that to -75, which is good. And if you notice, those balls were sticking at the end. So let's just do that -230. Let's see if that works instead. Let's have a look. Good. Brilliant. Perfect. Good. Just balanced underneath. Excellent. There we are. Just waiting for one to jump over now. Oops. Still no one jumping over. Ah, there you go. Here's one to jump over. Good stuff. So, And we'll just jump over that one. Perfect. Good. So the mechanics now are working really well. There's a few bits and bats to work on. Tweak the numbers of the buildings to make it work well. But the mechanics generally is working fine, which is good. So now what you need to do is we need the bit that says, okay, here, if we touch the ball, then it's game over. Now that's actually really, really quite simple. All we need to do there is we just say, okie dokie, if here, below here, after we've moved position, if touching, where we are, if touching, and then that's sprite 1 because I've not renamed it. Let's rename it to player. There we go. If touching the player, there we go, good stuff. If touching the player, then broadcast game over. Where's my broadcast gone? Good. If touching the player, broadcast game over. Good. And what we do now is we stop all the sprite. What's this one? Delete. There we go. Broadcast game over. Delete the sprites. And what we'll do now, when I receive game over, there you go. When I receive game over, we'll stop all scripts. Stop all scripts on this sprite. There we go. Stop all scripts on this sprite, and we will hide. Let's have a look. Broadcast game over and hide. In fact, we'll do it that way around. Hide before you broadcast game over, because if you broadcast game over first before you hide, broadcast game over, that's going to trigger this, which will stop all the scripts in the sprite, which would stop it from doing that hide. So do it hide, then broadcast game over, so then it will stop all these scripts. And then what you could do here, same sort of thing. When I receive game over, hide and stop all scripts on this sprites. La la la, stop all scripts on this sprite. Good stuff. In fact, we'll just drag all of those into all of the clouds and stuff. Good stuff. Excellent. And the very last one, the backdrop. Let's duplicate that backdrop. We'll do a quick game over screen. Game over. There we go. Make it nice and big. Excellent. Good. There's the game over screen. And all you can say here is, when I receive game over, switch the costume to backdrop 2, which is the game over backdrop. And then that's okay. Good. Obviously at the start of the game, when start clicked, you need to switch the costume to backdrop 1, otherwise it will stay on backdrop 2. Let's have a look. Let's try that now. So at the start of the game, let's see how far we've got this working. We hit a ball. Game over. Good stuff. Now that other one there has appeared straight afterwards. I don't know why, but we'll find out. Now we've got a problem. See here, because that game over script has hidden everything. What we need to say is at the start of the game, for each of these sprites, we need to show them again. Now that we've got the hide in place, that hide mechanism at the end, we need to make sure the show mechanism is there at the start of the game. Good. There we go. Let's try that. Let's try again. So there you go. Good stuff. So it's now starting to work. So we've got the running. You can go high or you can go low. Let's have a look. Hey, good. So we've got him jumping. That's not too bad. Let's imagine he forgets to jump and he hits that. It's game over. Good. Now what's happening there? That one there's appearing. Slight glitch there. Let's have a look. What is happening there? When I receive game over, stop other scripts in the sprites. Why is that happening? When I start as oh, is it because of? Is that the? Where's it at? Create a clone of when I receive high ball or low. Okay. When I receive game over. Okay, what we'll do is have to do a quick hack here. Game ended. Game over. Okay. For some reason, it's letting that sprite show even though it's game over. So what we'll do here is we'll say create a variable called game over, and let's have a look. At the start of the game, set game over to nope. We'll do false. Actually, why not? Set game over to false because it's not game over. And what we'll do is when I receive game over, set game over to true. There you go. And what we'll do now is we'll say, okay, if not, if game over equals false. If game over equals false, then we will do all of this. There you go. So if game over is false, it will do all of that. That hopefully will stop it. Let's find out. Set game over to false. Let's have a look. Oh, still there. How bizarre. Let's try dragging when I receive game over hide. I wonder if that will work. Let's just try that. That's a really weird glitch, isn't it? Let's see how that works. Let's try that. So when I receive game over hide. Yay! There you go. That's a bit easy, isn't it? When I receive game over hide. So we shouldn't need all this if game over equals false anyway. But it seems to be okay. Seems to be working not too badly. And there you go. So there's your basic mechanics for your endless running game with a game over screen, which is okay. What you could do to make it better is you could have a start screen. We can implement a start screen so that when you click a button it starts. That's nice and easy if you want to have a go at that. You can also do it so that, let's say that each time a ball disappears, each time the ball goes to the left hand side, the whole thing speeds up slightly, which is quite easy actually with a ball, because the ball speed is set in that, where's the move on change x by -3 there. There's the ball x speed there, changed by -3. So what you could do is you could set that as a variable and call it ball speed variable, and then each time round you make ball speed go a little bit lower so that it goes a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. Or you could change the delay. So here at the moment, every 4 seconds, it generates another ball. Again, you could call that waiting time, create a variable waiting time, and then after each ball, you just lower the waiting time by 0.01 of a second, so that it goes faster and faster and faster. If you do that as well, you probably want to do something so that as it moves, the ball time goes quicker, you could also maybe make the player move a little bit faster. There's loads of improvements. You can add music to it. Background music would make it great. You can add some sound effects, like a jumping sound effect, a crouching sound effect, a game over sound effect, and a start screen would be really, really good as well. So there's loads of things you can do to add to it, but there's your basic tutorial sorted. Any problems whatsoever, just drop comments in the comments, and I'll help you out. Good luck.